everybody. I just want to take a minute for me, be very selfish here. This marks 1 year since I've decided to be this really depressed kid. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I decided to pick up this camera and do what I really wanted to do, which was go to Vietnam and document it. And now here I am, my 3 lovely guests, and this audience.
Let's go.
And just a show of hands, who knows who I am? Wow. So, with this comes down to personal branding, my story. Because Hao Quang asked me last minute, I'm super awkward, anxious, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm gonna try to host this panel.
So happy to have you.
So, to my lovely guests here, can we all introduce ourselves? Let's start with Julia.
Hello everyone, my name is Julia. I'm 32 years old. I've been living in Vietnam for like the past 10 years. I moved here to start a business when I was 22. Didn't know anything about business. By now I'm a mother, I'm a content creator, and I'm still running the same business, which is called Floropunk. It's a fashion retail business selling fashion accessories, bags, shoes. And I grew up always wanting to do something in fashion. I just didn't know what. And then I came to Vietnam when I was 18 and I was doing an internship here. I was so inspired, like, how can somebody my age start their own business? That's like not something you can do in Germany. It's like out of the mind, you know? And then I felt like I was hanging out with these people. I was like, I can do this too. And that's why I did go back to Germany. I started university, but I stopped. I moved back to Vietnam. And I've been here ever since.
All right. Hi, my name is Christo, and I'm going to follow your lead. I'm 52 years old, as I mentioned before. I founded a company called The Future, which is an education-based company. Once I realized I wanted to find out what my deeper purpose was in life beyond making money, and that's what I've been doing for about 10 years now.
Hello, my name is Levi. I think many know me as Levi Oi. I'm a DJ, and I'm really happy to be here, by the way. It's my first time speaking in front of so many people. And I was studying business before in Berlin and moved here around 6 years ago. And now I'm still here, and yeah.
Awesome.
We love you, Levi!
So let's get straight into this. So every time I think about Germans and VQs, your guys really have a really tight bond. Everyone knows each other.
It's crazy because, so my name is Levi Julia Dorn, and her name is Julia Dorn, which is crazy, no? We're both from Germany.
Same name.
And she's born on the 24th of July. I'm on the 26th of July.
So we're both Leos.
So we met here. We didn't know each other in Germany. So we actually met here.
So with a similar story of both you guys coming to Vietnam, can you share what were the biggest challenges when you faced to return to Vietnam and to pursue your creative career? So let's start with Julia.
I think because I've been here for 10 years, my starting point was like the challenges that I faced back then are a little bit different than compared to people who would come here now. We didn't have Grab back then, and we didn't have Shopee. So I felt like everywhere I'm going, I'm being ripped off, basically. So that was a big mental challenge for me. And also I was 22. I didn't study business. I've never made a product before, and yet I decided to come to Vietnam and start a retail business here. So I had to learn everything from scratch, basically, and overcome myself over and over again. Learn all these things, like how to manage a business, how to manage people, how to manufacture products, how to sell products, marketing, everything, like finance, everything around it. And I think in Vietnamese, my Vietnamese was very bad at that time. By now, I can read contracts in Vietnamese, so it's better. At that time, that was very challenging for me.
Great. And Levi.
Me already?
Same question, yes.
Okay. So I wasn't a DJ before. I became a DJ in Vietnam. So my biggest challenge was to, first of all, overcome my ego a bit, because I had to start from zero again and learn all the skills from scratch. So that was kind of my personal biggest challenge. And in general, I think a challenge was for me to stay consistent with what I do, because I have like many passions. I like everything. I like this, that, this. And to really like be in Vietnam and stick to what I really like and stay consistent, I think that's was one of my biggest challenges, yeah.
So both of you guys are here on stage 5 years, 10 years in Vietnam. So I just want you guys to just close your eyes for a minute. Levy, Julia. You see yourself going into the unknown, the uncertainty. I don't know what my life is in Vietnam. Now fast forward 5, 10 years later, you see yourself, before you making the move, what would you tell yourself? Julio.
Be ready to fail and be ready to make mistakes and be ready for the challenge, I guess. Have an accident, don't you think? Have a motorbike accident? No, just kidding. No, that was a bad joke.
What I would tell myself,
Now looking back.
like before I came here?
Yes.
Yeah, just fucking do it. Like, you will not regret this. You will not regret this, girl.
We're still here. I mean, we still love it. And we're so happy to be here at this panel. So yeah, we're still here.
So Julia, you talked about getting scammed, not be able, there's no Grab. So what were some of the terms of sacrifices that you have to make being in Vietnam? And how did those sacrifices impact your personal brand?
Honestly, because I was so young when I came here, I didn't think a lot. I wasn't like, I came here literally because the party scene here was so good and I could đi nhậu every single day. So it was just so much fun. And even though I was like doing my business, it didn't feel like doing a business. It's more like working on something with your friends. So I never felt like I had to sacrifice anything back in Germany, and it always felt more like this huge opportunity and dream that I'm living every single day.
And going back to Levy. So working in corporate, coming here, what sacrifices did you make in terms of how it impacted your personal brand here?
So this year was kind of the first year I didn't spend Christmas with my parents. I think that's something you have to sacrifice when you work in a job like me. You have to travel a lot. You don't maybe have always time for your friends. You skip weddings. And I think that's something I had to sacrifice doing what I do. But personally, I don't see my career as like a 5-year plan. For me, it's like a lifelong challenge and journey. So I think it's normal that you have to sacrifice your time. But I get to see many places. I get to travel the world and just fulfill my dream and passion. And I think that's something that I'm willing to take on.
So would you say those sacrifices were worth it?
100%. And I'm living in Vietnam and I really love it.
So coming back to Chris, you built a very successful brand around the future. You made a name for yourself, personal brand coach, creative visionary. I've been following you for a while on YouTube. How do you steer your brand in the right direction, staying true to who you are, your core values, and without getting caught up in the fleeting trend? So, shiny object syndrome.
I think when we commit ourselves to doing something that feels right in our soul, then we are not easily distracted. I think when we're still trying to figure out things, especially early part in your life and your career, you're going to see people do things that might seem so attractive and you're going to get drawn to that. My advice for people is you have to kind of silence that noise because there's a lot of distractions out there and just stick to what it is that you're doing. Not in a million years when my friend Jose asked me to make content on YouTube that I think this is where I would be now years later. But it was just that kind of listening to the inner voice to say like, I'm a teacher at heart. I think that's my truest identity. Even before graphic design, I felt like I was a teacher. I just didn't find the right business model. So I was waiting for one to appear. And so if you're patient enough and you understand what it is that your heart says, I advise people on this, whenever they ask me about a big life question, I always ask them this one question back, which is, what does your heart tell you to do? Because very rarely does your heart lie to you. It's all the other voices that you hear inside your head that steer you astray. So I would just tell people, if you feel like you're not doing what is right for you and you get that weird, nervous, anxious feeling, it's there for a reason. It's warning you, don't proceed. Like when you meet somebody, in a business context or at a bar, you get that weird, funny feeling. It's your brain working faster than logic can decode. And it's telling you, don't do this. And I think it's true about other distractions in your life.
So just have a follow-up on that. So in terms of, let's say you make, for example, we all have personal brands here, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You have a video that blows up. Do you follow that trend? This is what the audience wants. It gets 1 million views. Or you stick with a video that says 100 views, but it's true to your heart.
Well, here's the thing, is if you make something, you have to ask yourself, why did I make this thing? Did I put out a post on Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube because I just want to express myself? And if that's the case, then just always do what you want. But if the point of you making a piece of content is to impact people's lives, then half of it is what you want to do, and the other half is what's going to connect and resonate with people. So here's something I discovered in making content. Like I've made over 1,300 videos, so I've learned not a lot, but just a little bit. I learned that if I give the audience something to look at that changes over time, they're more likely to keep watching it. That does not impact who I am as a person or what it is I want to teach. And so when I saw this guy, I'm forgetting his name right now, but he has a YouTube channel called Veritasium. I think he's a NASA scientist. And his name is Derek. And I watched this video where he explained the YouTube algorithm. Now, this is genius. This guy's a genius. What he did was he filmed inside his living room with a white piece of paper with handmade graphics, with construction paper and markers. Very crude by almost any design standards. But what he did was he kept me watching because he would flip the chart and then he would cut a string and he'd tear something apart. Each time he did that, I felt rewarded for watching more. And so there's a reason why we're compelled to listen to a joke or watch a movie to its end or binge watch is because we need to know how it ends. So what we're doing is we're creating loops of curiosity. We're creating an open loop. So if you start your video and you tell everybody everything that you need to tell them, why would they watch to the end? If you write a post on LinkedIn and you tell them everything they need to know at the beginning, why would they read to the end? That's how I used to make content, because I was like, let's be efficient, give them everything up front. So you have to give them a reason to keep reading or keep watching and reward them along the way. So I don't know if it's like you could just make content for yourself unless that's all you want to do, and then I applaud you for doing that.
That kind of leads into the next question for you, Chris, is creating a personal brand, being a persona. Do you embrace raw authenticity or do you create an idealized online persona? What's your perspective on this?
Okay. This might be a little controversial. I'm just going to say this part, okay? I don't think you create a personal brand. You discover your personal brand. So we are conditioned and socialized within polite society, in schools and with our parents to show up a certain way to be accepted by society. And we live with this for so long that we forget who the real you is, and that's a problem. So when I work with people to help them uncover, unpack, and rediscover, it's an excavation. You're digging deep inside yourself to rediscover the 3 or 4-year-old child who's been suppressed and held back and now repressed by yourself mostly, which is really sad to me, is we're trying to surface that. It's a very painful process and people are not willing to let go. They have voices that say, what will happen if people judge me a certain way or if I'm not accepted? My argument or my pushback to all those people is if people are not willing to accept you for who you are, they are not worthy of being in your life. So it's not something that you create. You got to just let it out. And it's not an easy thing. I know it's scary. I've been there myself and I help people through this.
So coming back to Julia and Levy, we both talked off camera in terms of coming to Vietnam, and we wouldn't be the same person that we are today without doing the journey that we have done. So you both started your careers in Vietnam after living in Germany. So if you stayed in Germany, how do you think your careers would have turned out, Julia?
I think I would still be running some sort of business, more like in the beauty sector probably. I was actually doing lash extensions before I came here, and I also had the secret dream of opening a restaurant one day because I was a waitress for so long and really loved F&B back then. But yeah, I would probably do some sort of business still, but just not fashion, because I think the entry barrier into fashion in Germany is very high.
And same goes for Levy.
I think I would have, I'm not sure if I was a DJ, to be honest. I think when I was in Germany, I was not exposed into like in this creative community. I was more like, like studying in Berlin, having, of course, like music as my big passion, but I was not brave enough to become a DJ. I think Vietnam has changed me to become the person that I am today. And hopefully I would have been a DJ at some point, but maybe like more like as a hobby, maybe just like on the weekends with some, just for fun, but like not as serious as I take it today here in Vietnam. And probably working in a job, I guess, like marketing or something creative, design, fashion.
So I just want to bring in Chris in terms of his idea of healing the inner child and having this 3 and 4-year-old self. Can you see Levy and Julia be that in Vietnam? Like, did that bring that out of them, knowing their stories?
This is a fascinating question and phenomenon, because I come from a very different perspective. So it's really fascinating for me to hear how being in Vietnam gave you certain freedoms or bravery or courage to do what it is that you want, whether it's the environment or opportunities. It's wild to me. And it's so wild. Because, okay, I'm going to say something. You guys are going to probably hate me for this, okay? I'm just going to say it.
We are ready.
Okay, we'll stir it up a little bit. My children, oh, Dad, you almost made it through the whole thing.
We have all the guns out. We have all the guns out.
They're almost...
Okay, so I live in California in LA, and I thought to myself, you know where I want to go? I want to go to the top art and design school and be the best at the best art and design school. And then I want to live in the place that is the most competitive place in the world to do what it is I'm doing, because I want to be a dog fighting for that piece of bone. Because I know if I can make it there in the most competitive environment, it will make me a stronger, better person. And I didn't look for permission. And we were talking, I forget who, I'm spacing her name right now. Like, we're all waiting for permission slips from somebody somewhere to say it's okay for you to be you and for you to do that thing that you knew you needed to do. So I don't know why people want permission slips. I told you before, I'm not very good at following directions. And I think if all of us had a little bit more of that kind of misfit, rebel, problem child in us, we would do so much better. Why are we waiting for someone or something to allow us to do that? I don't know. I'd love to have a discussion about it, though. Or not.
No, wait. Thinking. We're thinking.
I tried.
We're thinking.
At the end of the day, I know, but
I think it takes some courage in terms of having to go through that shit to figure out we already had it within. And without going through that, I feel like we wouldn't have gotten there in terms of getting the dog, getting the bone.
I think for me personally, I always felt like I was the rebel child. Because I grew up and my mom was always like, con bé này không ngoan. Đó. Because I didn't like going to school. I was not very good at school. I knew I didn't want to go to university. My mom tried to make me go to university. I tried. I failed. Until today, she's still like, you don't have a university degree. So
still do it.
Actually, going to Vietnam was me like kind of pursuing this inner rebel, I guess, and just living it. And I just felt like in Vietnam it's easier. German people are very critical, Like German people are very, very critical about everything. Like you take a photo of yourself on the street on this, just a selfie. That was 10 years ago. People are like, why is she doing that? Whereas in Vietnam, it just felt like people are so supportive. Like even if you take a photo or a video on the street, like the security guy will just oh, do you need some help? And I just felt like Vietnam, for what I wanted to do, fashion and content creation, was just the right place to be for. I was very introverted. So for an introverted person, in a society that is, I guess, also a little bit more not so, not so judgmental about you being introverted, just helped me pursuing my path more efficiently, I would say.
I think it's also the power of social media that is very strong here in Asia. I think in Germany, for example, 90% of my friends don't have Instagram. And I think it's the opposite here in Vietnam. All of my friends, they use it daily and use it also to build their personal brand. I think this is like one of the biggest opportunities here in Vietnam is to use social media and really create your own persona. And I think this is something that I started here too. Before I didn't really use Instagram, which is crazy.
Can I just jump in on the courage question? Okay, so do you guys feel like you need to have courage to do what it is you need to do? Like you need some strength, a little help, support, love or something? Yeah? A lot of you do? Okay. So I just want to reframe that question, okay? So when we say we need courage to pursue a career in fashion or music, we need courage, right? So I want to just throw this out there. If you have one life, and it's a big if, okay? If you just have one life, and you say, if I don't change, if I get on that train and just follow the plan and do what everybody tells me to do, and then you see yourself at the end of your life, that's one path. Then there's this path of you wanting to be a fashion designer or a YouTuber or a vlogger or a DJ, and you're like, I gotta risk some people's opinions. Why is that courageous? It's more courageous to stay on the stupid path knowing that the trail is going to end. Can you understand that part? So I really, as you can tell, I get really passionate. I feel like I'm about to cry or yell or something because it's stirring up all kinds of emotions in me because I look around the room and I see beautiful human beings who are full of amazing potential of doing business or sustainability or maybe running their company in a more kind, ethical way to treat people better. You don't need courage to do that because I'm telling you how the story ends. All you do is look around, talk to some old people and realize they didn't make a change. They didn't make a change. And I tell people this, and it's not meant to like boost you up, but somehow it's turned out to be that. I didn't find this path that I'm on until 42 years old. You're 32? So she could have blown off another 10 freaking years and still be ahead of schedule, in my opinion. And I tell that to all of you because some of you think, oh, I just can't do it. It's for young people, or it's this kind of person. You're just making more excuses why you don't take action. And it kills me to see it.
And that kind of pretty much, you answered the last question in terms of your global reach and perspective. That pretty much wraps it up with Chris in terms of like doing it what you want to do. We're going to leave the open crowd Q&A. Feel free to ask any of our panelists anything you want. Raise your hand.
It's that Vietnamese shyness, isn't it? Oh, there we go. See, you just, okay, so how do we do this? Is somebody going to run the mic to them? Here we go.
Yeah, so I have a follow-up question for Chris on the point which Peter asked about, which is when there's the algorithm that promotes something on YouTube and let's say, for example, how much can you charge for a logo design? I have a YouTube channel, so there's one particular video that I make about index investing, which always gets like 100,000 plus views. But I also want to talk about my family, my health, and like my routines and productivity and some other things. Whenever I post something else, it gets a few thousand. And I always have to go back to making videos about the topic which is blowing up, and that's what I feel the algorithm wants me to push. I was so frustrated with this that at the point towards the end of 2024, when I was like reviewing my goals for 2025, I have an agency as well, like marketing agency. I was like, I'm just going to focus on the agency and forget the documentation aspect on YouTube. So I had this question, Chris, about if you don't feel like making that video that the algorithm wants you to make, you can always approach it from different angles. But how do you get the motivation to keep doing that? And should you be doing that at all? Versus, just following what you really want to create on YouTube?
Okay. So I'm going to try to phrase that question so that it can hit more people in this room in case you don't make YouTube videos, okay? If you are in a situation where you make a piece of content and it works and the algorithm rewards you for it, but it may not make you the most excited, should you make some other kind of content? Okay, that's the basic question, right? Okay, good. So everybody understand that? So if you're in a place where you make content and you're not quite sure, like, well, this one works really well, I don't know why, I don't know if I want to make that anymore, whatever, okay? So you have to ask yourself, what gives you joy? And if making content gives you joy, just let the act of creation be the thing that drives you and turn off all the numbers of the reporting. Don't look at the analytics because that doesn't matter to you. But I suspect that if you're making content, it's because you want people to read it, to watch it. Like, I don't want to write a book that no one reads. I don't want to make a movie that no one sees. I don't want to be the most underrated fill in the blank. I want to maybe be overrated, but not underrated for sure. So here's the dilemma that you have. When someone follows you, and the algorithm knows what people want, give them more of what's working. It's like the dumbest idea is to do what works and then stop doing it. Like if I told you, if you go outside, they're handing out money, and you went outside and got some money, and they gave it to you, no strings attached, are you going to say to yourself, I'm not going to do that again? That would be insane. So here's the thing. You have to work a little bit. So you're going to make this thing that might not make you super happy, but is really working to build up your channel. So here's the way it works, is people don't care about you as a person until you care about them. So when you give them what they want over and over again, eventually they're going to say to you, can we hear about your family? Can we hear about your dog or where you're traveling to? And this is the weirdest thing that I've experienced personally. I only want to teach people, and I've been able to grow a following on a couple social channels, and now people are like, tell us about your life. Who are you as a person? I'm like, oh, you care about me? You do? Okay, I will share it too. I thought no one cared. So it kind of works in reverse order. The reason why people read tabloid magazines is because they're already famous. They want to know everything, where they sleep, what they eat, what clothes they wear, because they're already famous. So your first order is to get more people to know about you, and the way that you do that is you care about what they want. You're in the service industry, serve them first. Does that help you? Okay, great.
We're running out of time, Peter, so we have to close it there. But I think everyone's at the after party, so come to the after party. Julie, are you coming? Sorry? After party.
After party.
Oh, yeah. See
Okay,
you guys.
Peter, I'm going to give it back to you to close, but we got to continue.
Wrap it up, bro.
It's a wrap?
Wrap it up.
That's it.
Rap.
Wrap it up.
Say something.
Something.
You.
Hello, everybody. I'm Broke the Habit. Follow me on IG. Personal brand session. Great to talk to hear the stories of Julia and Levy, as well as Chris's great insight into his throwing us questions left and right that stir up shit. So, personal brand, create social media, be authentic, true to yourself, and you'll make it. That's a wrap.